everyone. Welcome to Run with Allie Live. Woo! Happy Tuesday, and we are going to talk about running mechanics and the relation it has to your running and why you should be performing these exercises, and how you could take this a step further to really fine-tune your running and do what is best for you. So everyone, thank you so much for joining. Please feel free to ask questions, engage, as we go in this live. First and foremost, I want to just thank you all for coming on here. This methodology, this, I want to say apparatus, I didn't pull out of thin air. I took from a very, significant figure in the running world and fine-tuned it to work in a way that works best for me. And this is now implemented into my strategy to help marathon runners run faster marathons, but also while staying injury-free, which is, the most important part of any marathon, is getting to that start line or getting to the start line of any race or any workout, feeling really good and confident about what you're going to tackle next. So I do want to say that I've been working on this for just shy of 4 months, and I just snagged a 1:25 PR in the Queen's 10K last weekend. Woo! Shout out to all of the runners who also ran, including several athletes that I coach. And, that didn't just happen because it was solely my fitness that had improved. It's also because I've been applying specific running mechanic drills to strengthen my running muscles, which I've been sharing about in my posts, and I want to share with you. And there's going to be a follow-up live with Jackie Wilson's Runs talking about strengthening your running muscles, and we're going to be introducing a whole webinar to you guys. So that's going to be, it's going to offer a sequential series of webinars that you could sign up for if you, are interested. Just, stay tuned for that. Yes. So for those of you joining on here, welcome. Just to go back to what I was saying. So I went from a 39:22 pace and a 38:04 pace. The reason why I'm sharing this is because I'm not superwoman. I'm just like any of you. And what works for me doesn't necessarily work for you. But if a method did work for me, and if I came to running later in life like many of you here, you might see some improvements in your running by thinking about fine-tuning your running mechanics and your running technique in a way that works best for you. So without further ado, let me just dive into that a little. So the shorter the distance, the harder it is to take off more time. So I went from a 6:22 pace to a 6:07 pace. Now, had I not gone out the first mile at my previous PR, or a little faster, which was 6:22 pace, I would have averaged a 6:01 pace for the whole 6.2 miles. But we live and we learn, and every race, kind of is a stepping stone towards that next goal. I hadn't applied the running mechanics before running this race this last weekend. So the race before the last 10K that I did was in January. It was the Joe Kleinerman 10K. It was super freaking cold if any of you ran it. And yes, my fitness was improving. It was after I ran the last marathon I ran. But yeah, we're only getting stronger. And I found that, after running that race, I was a little personally frustrated with the fact that I was pushing these faster paces and gaining this fitness, but not really putting a heavy emphasis on fine-tuning the way that my body was moving, my body's mechanics, and working on my running specific muscles. So what I mean by that is, and I just have some notes here so I don't just forget everything and space out on you guys, and also just go on a tangent. But improving the flexibility and speed of each joint in each movement that's pertinent to running and relatable to running is very, very important, because you're mimicking what you're doing as you run. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to think about things like your knee drive. I'm going to get up and actually show you what I'm talking about. But, things like, your knee drive. So the action where you are literally driving your knee forward. This action, that is working your hip flexors, which is right on top of your hip joint or below it. Yeah, oh my gosh, below it. And you need to strengthen those muscles in there, in your hip flexor complex, to really help build strength endurance while you're running, because you're mimicking that motion of that knee drive, like I just showed you, pushing that knee forward and back. And that ultimately, will allow you to enhance the pullback motion or the pullback motion, which I feel like showing you guys again, just because this is how I roll. The pullback motion, so what that is you're here, you're coming out here, and your leg actually straightens before it hits the ground below you. And what that does is, if you think about it and you watch any of my running videos, or if you want to watch, the reels that I'm going to post today, you'll see that by enhancing your knee drive and your pullback allows you to generate more force while propelling forward off the ground while you run. And instead of bouncing up and down using so much energy that's not used efficiently, you're driving yourself forward and having more control by keeping your head over your toe as it hits the ground. Whether you have a mid-foot strike or a mid to heel strike, whatever foot strike you have, as long as it makes sense for your body, you're able to use your running specific muscles in your hips and, in your whole kinetic chain, the back part of your lower body, very well, and in a way that works for you. This works from an injury prevention standpoint, but it's also excellent for enhancing your performance. And the biggest thing I've found by doing these exercises is my physical ability my body is stronger physically, and now it's my heart, my cardiovascular fitness that needs to kind of catch up with that. And I over time during my training have felt the adjustment and felt my muscles and my joints being able to have that proper range of motion, having the strength and flexibility, strength and flexibility, like the ability to lengthen my muscles and, mobility, move through the proper range of motion in my hip joints to really, do the knee drive and pull back. So knee drive. So this here to here when you're running. And really making sure that my foot is landing directly under my head. So these things while running are extremely important to take into consideration and to think about. So I'm going to give you 3 drills I'm going to list under this live that are going to really help you kind of start to think about your running mechanics, how they could help you by just doing them. And if they don't, they don't. And if they do, reach back out to me, and I'd love to talk to you about either working with you on them via a FaceTime session or in person. But first things first, let's get to those exercises and hash them out more. So the knee drive, it's that's a very, very big that enhances your stride length, that movement. So that's pretty important, because if you have an effective stride for your running, you're going to be able to have an increased stride length with proper cadence, steps per minute, and the ability to keep driving your knee forward in that same motion without getting fatigued, so you could keep up that pace and not let your form get all sloppy by, just not working those muscles, and therefore you'll prevent injuries by doing that. The pullback motion, many of us don't really work on it. That really strengthens our hamstring muscles, believe it or not, and the ability to like pull back and pull our bodies forward. It's almost like, think of a bicycle. That's a good way to put it. And getting our entire leg to properly move through our entire hip complex. I feel like a DPT here, but I'm not yet. Getting that full range of motion is allowing us to properly propel ourselves forward step after step. And that repetitive motion, especially to you distance runners on here, because that's the crowd I'm speaking to, and aspiring marathoners as well, even aspiring 10K runners and milers. This is a very, very excellent place to start. It's also an excellent thing to introduce into your training, maybe not as progressively as you would if you were just starting out with little running volume under your belts, if that makes sense, which is what I've been doing. And I like to share this stuff with you as I do it, and as I get my feet wet. It's been 4 months in it, but I had a race. I saw results, and that's why I'm sharing this with you now, because I knew going into it was going to be a great race, regardless of, the times. I knew how I was feeling, obviously during my training, but just all, around it, as a result of performing these drills. Think about, these staples. So it's important to assess, why your run is effective, like what's effective in your run, what the role of each joint is and joint action in your run, and how those things together could be paired to make your running technique and running mechanics more effective for you. How can your stride be more powerful? Should your technique be modified? It's an extremely hard thing to do, but also this is a twofold benefit. Injury prevention. You're going to prevent injuries by running better in a way that works for your body, by having proper mechanics. If you want to run, for 100 miles, let's say, and you don't even have a race goal in mind, and you want to go tackle trails, and you have good running form, and you're able to properly use your joints as they should be used if we were all, able to just run and strengthen our bodies all day, but we're not. So that's why we have to work on our running specific muscles and getting them to move properly and to be strong enough to endure what we're trying to train for. So marathons, ultras, trail races, miles, any running, this could benefit you. So from an injury prevention standpoint, from a performance standpoint, this could elevate your running to the next level. This could help you run a faster marathon. What I'd recommend is, starting to implement these into your training with a coach, where this makes sense for you, and, really like figuring out where you're kind of lacking and where you feel like you could use more help and more strength while you're running. I would say, when you're running intervals, if that's in your program, or if you don't have intervals, when you're just out there running on your conversational pace runs, or rather easy effort runs, just you're assessing how you feel, and what really, just being honest with yourself and keeping yourself honest and thinking, what can I improve on and what needs work, and working again with a coach or an accountability group to help you improve in those areas. I'm truly a firm believer that every coach needs a coach. I have several coaches. That's a good way. Like I have a running coach, but I have, a business coach. I have a running technique coach. my significant other actually, and you know, I truly practice what I preach. Every coach does need a coach. Yeah, I you know, I'm a very big believer in that, because I think that all of us could really grow, and there's never a point where we should stop learning. So yeah, I think that, you know, just enhancing our ability to improve in everything that we do, especially in running mechanics and our running technique, and seeing those results in races or in a time trial or just over time, as you let time take its course. You know, good things come with time, right? There's a truth to cliches. So, you know, I've touched upon the, you know, two pretty important moves. The third one I want to, you know, stress the importance of is the heel drop and the explosive heel raise or calf raise, which basically you're letting just your heel drop to the ground. This is going to be in a Reels this week on how to strengthen your running muscles series. Letting your heel drop to the ground, and then once you let that happen, I could show you the opposite, the explosive heel or calf raise. So you're here, I think you guys could see me, and you're going up on the ball of your foot and then letting your heel come down. And if you're on a stair, you could like literally let your heel drop, and then you're explosively going up on your calf and coming back down. So there are 3 exercise videos that I'm going to share with you guys. If you want to try to include them with your runs, I think that, you know, you could really benefit from all 3. And yeah, you know, so just getting back to this, thigh drive, your stride length increases. It puts you in a position for a more powerful pullback, that pullback motion, to give you action for a more powerful push off in your running gait, and just strengthening your calves, your ankles, and having that range of motion in that ankle extension, thinking of, you know, pushing off the ground and fully extending that ankle. I'll show you one more time. So this, when you walk, just think about that, not just that, not a passive foot strike. So that. Yes, just saw that in real time. So, my light got up. There we go. Okay, so making sure to, you know, think about these things while you're performing these 3 exercises. I would say 4 hours, at least 4 to 6 hours, twice a week after your runs. It doesn't matter what type of run it is. Just leave that amount of time, because this, you know, this is a method of strength training and a way to improve your running mechanics. Yeah, and just give your muscles strength, endurance, increase the oxidative ability, the ability for your muscles to use oxygen as, you know, energy. And through these contractions, by higher repetitions and, you know, more repetitions, strengthening these running specific muscles will help you to reduce injuries, increase your performance, and, you know, enjoy running and experience breakthroughs for you in whatever way that is. So whether that is running your first mile, you know, and being able to run it without stopping to walk, or, you know, running your first marathon injury free and getting to that start line feeling really confident and good that, you know, you could, you know, control yourself and endure the discomfort of the marathon. Whatever your, you know, distance running goal is, these could all really benefit you in a way that works best for you. And yeah, and I hope that you find this helpful, and you provide me with, you know, feedback, comments, questions, answers, to, you know, how things might be working for you. You know, if any of you obviously want to ask questions now, that would be really, really great. And if not, that's completely cool too, because most of you are probably thinking on here, like, I don't know what to ask. But by the way, no question is silly or stupid. I mean, I appreciate all the questions. So, but, you know, I'm just here to help you as a resource, of course. And, yeah, I want to see you guys crush it. More of you guys crush it and, you know, run injury free and just enjoy the process of running and being able to control, paces by having a stronger running body, and, really feeling like you're using your body properly and all of the muscles and joints involved in ways that running requires. Because all of us, I think, want to be lifelong runners. I'm pretty sure that that's a common goal, and it's an amazing goal. And being able to really keep running without taking a major break and just stay running without any injuries is like the best feeling. I know all of you on here, if you have ran, if you're experiencing an injury right now, if you are an aspiring runner, this applies to all of us. I think that we could really benefit from, just thinking about how enhancing our running technique and our running mechanics could improve our running performance and keep us injury-free for our life. Who doesn't want to run till they're 90? Come on. And if there's someone that is 90 on here, God, you are goals. Jackie, I love it. Can you repeat how often we should do these drills? Yes, absolutely. So 2 to 3 times a week, I would say after your runs, at least 4 to 6 hours after your runs. And yes, making sure that they're not done on back-to-back days. So if you do these on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or Mondays and Wednesdays, just make sure that there is an afternoon session where you do them. It takes about maybe 15 minutes to do. Don't rush them, and 8 to anywhere 8 to 20. Please don't start at 20 though. Repetitions for each exercise is excellent. You really know when you should stop when you start to lack the form for each drill, which you'll have from the videos provided under this live. So I hope that fully answered that question, and that was a really good one. And these drills are specifically targeted to help you fine-tune your running mechanics, for you to run injury-free, for you to snag a new PR, and for you to really strengthen your running specific muscles and joints that are used while you run, and make them more flexible and mobile. And it's, you could do these, by the way. I have been using active cords. Feel free to direct message me if you are interested in, what I'm using, but you could use these with resistance bands. You could use these at the gym. As long as you mimic the motions, you're good. And there's always, progress from doing something new and introducing something new in a progressive manner and a systematic way. Not to sound so, anal about that, but you don't want to just arbitrarily or randomly introduce something into your routine and not have a method to the madness. So making sure that if you are following a training program, amazing. Yes, high five. And if I'm your coach, high five. I love working with you, and thank you. I know Rosie and Jackie are on here. And I appreciate you both. And, just making sure that if you want to include these, you either speak to your coach, or you could even try taking my advice if you're following, a Hal Higdon plan, or a Jeff Galloway plan, or a Jack Daniels plan, that you write this under your schedule so that you could look back at your progress and really see, what was I doing to get, this result. And even if it's a bad result, maybe like looking at what you've been doing, and also just keeping a journal and logging everything you're doing around your training, including recovery, rest, sleep, nutrition, all of that jazz. Yes, the fitness is just a part of it, but now the running mechanics and making your body, strong for the long run, no pun intended, is going to be really important for your success as a runner. So I really hope this was helpful. Last time going for questions. You could always obviously direct message me with questions. If I don't answer you promptly, it's because there are other things that I do, and I do my best to answer all of you as quickly as possible. So I thank you for being patient, and just, I hope that your training and everything in your running journey is going pretty smoothly, and you're getting ready to tackle some fun races in the summer if you're focusing on the shorter distances and getting ready for the fall where we have all the major marathons, and it's going to be really fun. And I'm excited to be in this process with you guys as well. So again, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to be posting the notes and the videos under today's live, along with a link to get in touch with me if you're interested in more about learning how to fine-tune running mechanics in a way that works for you. Thank you so much for joining today. This is Coach Allie, and I will see you again soon. Have a great Tuesday. Bye, guys.